I brought you a Loopring video at the end of last week when I said that if we could break the 3.618, we would come up to this level here at $3.8, and it was very unlikely that we would be able to continue pushing up there given that we had such an aggressive parabolic run very recently. I did say then that if we were rejected at these levels, we would have to look below at Fibonacci levels, because when we don't have much in terms of previous support and resistance, we need to rely on this. And you can see that these lines are significant in that each time we come up against them, we find levels of support and resistance, and nothing different shows here. As you can see, we were rejected up at these levels and we were swiftly pushed back down. Although we did break through the 2.618, we then maintained ourselves pushing back above it aggressively around the $2.79. We've then pushed up and again been rejected at these levels, but what we can see is quite similar to actually what we've seen in Solana previously. What we can currently see at the top is we are getting pushed down, finding lower highs each time, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything particularly bad for Loopring. It's just a bit of consolidation. We did have this aggressive push up, so we could be forming one of a few different patterns at the moment. We could potentially be forming this as a descending triangle, which could continue and eventually push towards the upside, or we could be forming some sort of a falling bull flag, which would have the potential to be a much more explosive move. If we were to look at this then as an ascending triangle, which is potentially quite likely, we found support here, and we could potentially come back down towards 2.64 levels to retest before pushing on to the upside, then we could expect to have a price target of something around 4.1. Bearing in mind that until we come down and we touch this level isn't necessarily proven, because we could potentially push down further. But if this does perhaps fall a bit further, we do see levels down towards the sort of 2.4, etc., then we can actually look at this as a bull flag, in which case we would take from where the sort of the flagpole starts, and we would then launch it potentially from a breakout. Now obviously, as I've mentioned, it could take a few days before we see a breakout like this happen, but then we can see that that will push us towards the $5.5 level, which from current levels would be a push of around 87%, which obviously is potentially very exciting. But as I mentioned, guys, it's far too early to be able to call that. So first port of call, I think we will come down and we will touch the 2.618 down at the $2.78 level. Potentially we will then push down further. Here we had this previous line of resistance back on the 8th of November at around the 2.46, which would not shock me if we came down and touched that level, because it would be in line with this bottom support line here and retesting that previous line of resistance as support. So I think ultimately Loopring is going to have a bit of a cool off for another couple of days, but ultimately is looking bullish when we vote further down the line. So don't get too worried if you're holding Loopring, even if you perhaps bought higher levels. I think we are going to see Loopring pushing on to stronger levels, and I'm going to show you quickly before we finish the Solana chart. And the reason I wanted to show you Solana is I think Loopring is actually around this level right now, where it's already had this aggressive kind of push towards the upside. It's then been rejected and pushed back down, and notice what we've seen in Solana. We did have a consolidation in a slightly different pattern from what you're seeing over on the Loopring chart, but as you see, we did come up and hit that high here, $216, and the current price is $245, which is obviously significantly higher than that. So obviously Loopring looking like we're having some sort of a consolidation, and this is the phase that I expect to see Loopring hitting later on in the week. Guys, make sure you leave a comment down below of anything you want covered on the channel. I also made a video the other day on Pionex, which has been making me some great money. It's a trading bot. I'll leave a link for that video at the end of this video. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye-bye.